What's up, Canes? Kane's back in the chat after a nice. I noticed that Miami looked terrible yesterday. You know, you show up about an hour into the stream. Miami dominates today, and you're here. You're as soon as the stream's on, you're in the chat. But Miami did look great today. So congratulations to Canes. I got Notre Dame Louisville pulled up. Big situation, obviously. Top 9, Louisville trying to close it out. Louisville's, I mean, talk about Louisville fall from grace. I mean, they were like top 15 team, almost top 10 team to start the year, and they're not even ranked. And 0-1. Notre Dame's looking pretty good. Man, runner doesn't advance on that. That's crazy they didn't advance. Good at bat here. This has been a good one. I was watching this in the Mississippi State game. Yeah, is Arkansas Mississippi State playing a doubleheader today? I didn't realize they were playing a doubleheader. Once that one got out of hand, I switched to Auburn versus Missouri, and now that one is getting out of hand. Oh my, what a play. Beats it though. But you know what? That's a great example there that if base runners had advanced on that, you know, kind of deflection off the catcher, they're tied. But yeah, that's a heck of a play. Let's see the replay here. A quick turn too. Base hitter got down the line really quick. This guy is completely jacked for Notre Dame. Holy cow. Barth, one home run, but man, looks like Dan Ugla. Looks like Dan Ugla in the box. And Louisville's got to be careful here. One pass ball or wild pitch, and the game's tied. Oof. I swear I just saw Brian Bridges, the former Atlanta Braves scouting director, behind home plate. That is Brian Bridges. That is Brian Bridges. I forget who he's with now. I know he was with the Giants maybe last time I saw him, but that had to be 2 or 3 years ago. That's down. It's a good pitch, but it's down. We got great news before the game from someone you know who told a Southwest Eagles fan that Derek Williams was actually good to go and he was in the lineup, and man, he hit a home run around 460 today. I told you, man, it's probably just precaution. Oh my gosh. Dude, I don't know where that pitch was. Louisville's catcher is like, Louisville's catcher's looking into Dan McDonald like, I don't know where that is. You know what? He did a good job bringing that pitch up. I mean, it's borderline, but it's probably a bit down. But because the thing is, when you throw a pitch like right below the zone and it splits home plate in half, like it's right down the middle, usually that gets called. But man, we also made some changes today. We moved Dominguez to the bench when we were batting so he can talk to the hitters. Brewer to first, Anderson to third. It worked great today. Yeah, that's smart. You know, it's one of those things. Like I always thought from my experience in the dugout with Georgia Tech that I thought I brought more value from the dugout than like being on base. Certainly, you need guys out there on coaching the bases that know what they're doing and can communicate. But there's a lot of value in being able to talk to hitters and pick up stuff from the dugout on the pitcher. So that makes sense that they made that change and it obviously worked. Miami's offense looked great. Beautiful day today. Deserved afternoon stream and night stream. Yeah, I wish I could, Wiley, but it's tough when you have two toddlers running around. And my wife is sick too, so it wasn't like I was on full duty all day today. Everything. I was doing everything. So man, this is a big man. We've had some great games this weekend. I was looking back, how many game tying or go ahead home runs or walk off home runs were hit last night? Insane amount. And Louisville's catcher is kind of shaky back there. I mean, he's having some trouble with the low pitch. I also think we had the most stolen bases we had this season. How many did you have, Canes? Poor Mrs. KW. She's a rock star. Yeah, she is. But yeah, she's down bad right now. She's got something bad. She's got like a bad headache, like weak fever. Oh man. And Louisville will get their first win in ACC play. All right. Now let's move over to LSU Vandy. I want to watch the LSU Vandy game. Did China release a new virus against the rent house? I hope not. But I will say this. Like all the dads in my neighborhood, there's like down the house, like 4 houses down from me. My next door neighbor is like an older married couple, like same age as my parents. They're obviously empty nesters. But the 3 houses down from them, all are around my age or a little bit older, and they all have kids that are like around the same age. So all of our kids, like every day, they just play outside together. So we're always hanging out. And like 3 of me and 2 of the other dads all have gotten sick in the last like month or 2. And it's been like kind of brutal. And when we went to get like, obviously checked out, like no strep, no COVID, no flu, no cold. And so I actually made that joke, WBE. I made that joke. I was like, is there some new virus going around we don't know about yet? I think we had 2 or 3, which would still be the most. Wow. Natalie and Mackenzie say, hey, guys. Funk going around here too. All the younger kids have something and are giving it to the adults, not flu or COVID. Yeah, I always get it last. Miles and Julie have something right now. I always typically get it last, and it seems like I get it the worst. I don't know, but Julie's got it pretty bad right now, so I'm hoping I do not get it. I'm trying to see if my boy Matthew Shorey is healthy for Vandy. He's been he was highly believed to be on the weekend rotation coming into the year, and he has some kind of injury, and I'm not sure what it is. Hand, foot, and mouth. No, it's not hand, foot, and mouth. It's not hand, foot, and mouth. That would be like Miles got it, but Miles doesn't seem too bad. Like his nose was running, and he had one night where he was coughing pretty bad. Oh wow, what a bunt! What a bunt! Love bunting on turf. But so I don't know what it is. Maybe she'll go get it checked out tomorrow. Hello, YouTube chat. What's up? What WBE's back in the YouTube chat now? Wow, he's finally made the move. Southern Miss versus Arkansas State, a tense game today. Arkansas State's kind of legit, man. They beat Southern Miss really kind of easily yesterday. What's the score of the game right now? Otani just hit a nuke so far. Otani's good, man. Otani's unbelievable. He really is. All right, so let me see the scores here. Southern Miss up 3-1 in top of the 8th. But yeah, Arkansas State's hanging in there with Southern Miss, and Southern Miss has beat some really good teams. Georgia Tech did lose today. Bottom of the 5th inning just kind of got away from them. Bottom of the 5th inning was about as bad as it can possibly get from a pitching perspective. A lot of walks, a lot of hit by pitches, and Clemson took advantage. Right after a big 3-run or 2-run home run from Carson Kurtz that put Tech up 3 runs, 5-2, and then Clemson stormed back for 8 in the bottom of the 5th. So it was kind of a brutal. You felt like, man, Georgia Tech's going to sweep them, and then all of a sudden, basically Jackson Blakely came out. Hit the first batter, I believe. I was like driving to pick up food, so I didn't even get to see. I left as the bottom of the 5th was starting. I was gone for like an hour, got back, and it was still the bottom of the 5th. Like that's how long and how brutal of an inning it was. And then so they ended up, Blakely lasted a few more hitters, but gave up. I think gave it up to made it 5-4, and then the bullpen came in, and first guy out, not great. And then it kind of turned into everyone's got to get hot. And you could just tell the next 3-4 pitchers, because not kidding, they used like 5 or 6 pitchers in the inning. Like all of them just could not get loose. 3-1 USM. They just got out of the 8th and stranded a runner. I had no idea they were playing today. My brother saved me tickets for me and him for tomorrow's game, but I would rather have gone to this game to see Otani. Yeah, for sure. Kyle left to pick up dinner, got home, and the inning was still going on. I'm not kidding, dude. I went to this is the actual story. I went to pick up a pickup order. Julie wanted Flower Child, and so she made the order. I get there, and it's like 6 minutes away from our house. So I was like, I'll be back by maybe the bottom of the 5th will be over by the time I get back, but I'm not going to miss a ton of the game. I get there and I'm like, hey, we did like they would take it out to park wherever you're parked. I get there and I'm like, hey, I'm in spot 1. I call her to let whatever button she's got to push on the app. And then she pulls it up and she's like, oh gosh. She's like, I'm sorry, Kyle, the order didn't go through. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to miss so much of the game. And so I was actually texting Wiley Ballard and Joyer and some of the other guys that come in the stream. And I was like, all right, you guys just send me updates. What's going on? And it was like, the updates were brutal. It was like walk, hit by pitch, 2-run bomb, bases clearing double. And I was just like, oh God. And so she has to remake the order. It's going to be ready in 25 minutes. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I actually went and picked up something else, got back, picked it up, got home. By the time I got home, it was basically gone for about an hour. And I literally walk into my house, and it's still the bottom of the 5th. This man, Kyle, is such a boomer. How am I a boomer? What is that? Why am I a boomer for that? Yeah, I mean, Wiley Ballard and Jordan knows because I left. I always text those guys and Dusty during the Tech games. And, we're just talking about the game and doing fan things, complaining about stuff or excited about stuff. And I was like, hey, update me with what's going on because I'm driving. I can't pull it up on my phone. And it was just a nightmare. The updates were just a nightmare. Well, the thing is, it's a long story, but now with it being Disney Plus to ESPN, I got to log in on that. And I was just, and you have to remember this, Canes. I literally thought I literally thought I'm going to be back in like 15 minutes. So it's not a big deal. Like I'm not going to have the game up, and then it turned into an hour. Canes doesn't like safe driving. Yeah, that's pretty messed up, Canes. Like, you want me to watch the game while I'm driving? Tuning in tonight with Nat, Ken's, and my buddy Philip. Hello, Philip. Welcome to the stream, Philip. Thank you, Jack, for that. Shout out. You can watch and listen to the game anywhere in the world. I'm with Canes. Boomer. Yeah, of course you are, Natalie. Natalie, you didn't watch the game. How many Georgia Tech games have you watched all year, Natalie? But LSU, man, LSU is not, dude. LSU fans are panicking right now because Vanderbilt's has not looked great. They're 12-7. They were 11-7 coming into the series. They won last night against LSU, and now Vandy is leading 2-1. What is it, the 5th inning? And Vandy has 2 guys on. And Vandy was one of the teams last night that hit the walk-off home run. I mean, how many home runs in the bottom of the 9th or top of the 9th, 2 outs? Dude, LSU is in shambles. Ground ball to first with bases loaded. York throws it home. Short throw. Catcher bobbles it. And Jay Johnson's out there trying to maybe challenge it to see if he did catch it and then maybe took it out on the transfer, which that may have happened. You didn't really have a great angle to see how the ball came out. Philip on these nuts. My gosh. Oh, it's getting to the point where I don't care anymore. I just don't care. My guard's down. Like, I'm not ready. Oh, there's no way. He didn't catch that. Yes, there's no way. That's gonna be a run. Who is Natalie? Natalie is my sister-in-law. That's Colby's wife. WBE. That's Colby's wife. No, there's nothing wrong with that slide. I will tell you, yeah, SEAL Team Ren doesn't play, though. That's true. I will tell you if we are switching to the bottom of the 9th of Southern Miss versus Arkansas State. Okay. I'm also watching Southern Miss, Canes. I just want to watch Vandy because I want to see if my guy gets in. I know he's supposed to be getting close to coming or being in the game or being able to play. I have Warren Nolan on. If they don't give up a run here, Wiley, I'm going to put the game on. Okay, I tell the soldiers to stand by and stand down. Is that the reference I think you're saying? Stand by and stand down? Yeah, that's not going to be interference. There's no way they're going to overturn that. I do have a nice Spindrift Cosmopolitan flavor. It's not bad. Although I don't really like Spindrifts that much. That is the reference you think it is? Okay. That was funny. But there's York. I mean, again, he got like this. I mean, he's a big guy over at first, and he doesn't move very well. Like, that should have been an easy out. And he just like zoos the throw. Yeah, I guess I'm on SEAL Team Ren. Natalie is on SEAL Team Ren. No interference on the play. LSU is in big trouble. Bases loaded, no outs. They've already given up 1 run. Welcome to the platoon, Natalie. Hey, Natalie, stand by and stand down. Stand by and stand down. That was a great reference there, WBE. Excellent reference. I got a message, Big H. Big H's prediction is that 3 weeks in, Georgia will be out of the top 25. Georgia did win today. So the series with Tennessee is even, is tied. But LSU is in shambles right now. They got to get out of this inning without giving up a crooked number, and it's not looking like it's going to happen. And Vandy is a nice place to play. The Whistler is a bit much, and you can hear him on the broadcast. Braden Holcomb at the plate for Vandy with bases loaded, 2-1 count. Three-1 count. Pretty much all off speed so far this at bat. 3-1 count, like bases loaded. Like, are you going to challenge Braden Holcomb here with a fastball? It's like now you're trapped. You know, we talked about it last night, the 2-2 trap. And that's a walk. Wow. AC Baseball Buzz is out at dinner, but wants me to pass along that he says Bofa. I think I know what's coming after that. I think I know what's about to hit the chat. He's out to dinner at 9:34 p.m. Is he still in Eastern time, WBE? And that's a deep ball hit to center. Going to move runners up from second to third, and obviously runners going to tag and score. It's now 5-1. Is Corbin still coaching third, doing that thing where he goes like, is he still doing that? And you know what's funny? I always read on, every time Vandy's in a big series, there's always these fans that are like, this is so eyewash what this coach does at third base. And I'm like, there's a system for what he does. You know, he's not just doing that to do it. He's a central timer now? Okay. I didn't think he didn't seem like the type that's out for a really late night dinner. Man, all you guys are you guys in the same city now, WB? USM extends lead 4-1, huge insurance run. Yeah. Ugh. And I'll tell you what, man, LSU's offense is like, you know what's bad is when you score a ton of runs like they did last night and you still lose. That's like, you know, you're off. Oh, you're as a fan, you think, okay, our offense is back. And then you lose. And as an offense, you're like, wow, we finally scored a bunch of runs. We still lost. Like that's all of a sudden now today, they got one run through 5. We are not in the same city, sadly. Offered him to live in our guest room, though. Nice. Oh, my. Oh, my. 3-run homer for Vandy. Vandy's up 8-1. Wow. What is going on in Baton Rouge? Pinch hitter, Chris Maldonado comes in to face the lefty. 3-run jack. Buck, what's up, Buck? Yeah, Vandy. I mean, what's going on with LSU, man? It's crazy. I told you guys this. When I saw in the midweek that like LSU's players were like writing notes to each other and and being encouraging about how good each player is, I was like, you want a surefire example of red flag? There is trouble in LSU in Baton Rouge. That was it. When I read that story, and some of the people commenting were like, "Oh, that's so awesome that he's doing that to all the players." And I'm like, yeah, it's like he's a nice teammate for doing that. But if you're doing, I've never been on a team where someone wrote individual notes to the players to let them know how good they are. This was the guy that's coming into pitch, Zion Theophilus. Supposedly he was the one that wrote the and now a walk. You've given up 6 runs in the inning, and then bases are finally cleared, and 5-pitch walk. If they win one top 15 series, D1 will have them in the host conversation, though. Got to justify their preseason beliefs 100%. Hi, Rule. What's up, man? I've been on an emotional roller coaster the past 24 hours. I bet. Texas looked great today, though. But WBE 100%. Like LSU, it's, it was like that season where they went 13-17 in conference and got in. To the tournament. 100%. LSU has looked bad for the last 2.5 weeks. But, they'll win a ranked series and they're like top 10. They're going to drop. I mean, if they lose this game, they're going to fall even further. And when you factor in how bad they've looked for 2 weeks, they should fall probably near the back end of the top 25, around like 22 or 23. They probably won't, though. But as soon as they win a series, it'll be like back to top 10. Kane said, "What's up?" Buck said, "What's up, 305?" Tomorrow, it's the rubber match for who gets eliminated from the list of finalists for Buck's son. What, Miami versus Duke? Was that the Big East final tonight at the Garden? St. John's with the big win over UConn. Buck, are you like the most interesting man in the world? You're just always at big-time events. Do you think you would have been ACC Player of the Year if someone had left lunch notes in your locker? No. I still think I should have got ACC Freshman of the Year my freshman year, but Colin Moran, hit like 9 home runs, and I hit 1. But, we're not salty about that. They do same thing with Florida any chance they get, and then they say they're right because they get in a regional and they have one guy take over, rinse, repeat. Yeah. Well, it's also when, LSU gets in a regional or Florida gets in a regional and they get sent to kind of a not super difficult one. Like the SEC teams, in my mind, always get sent. What's messed up is that the big advantage the SEC has in the postseason is that there's so many SEC teams in the postseason. They always get like a fairly good matchup because they don't have to play an SEC team. And so this kid, Zion Theophilus, was originally committed to Duke. And when Josh Jordan went to LSU, Zion Theophilus decommitted, committed to LSU. JD, what's up, man? LSU doesn't deserve to be in the top 25, but bias will keep them in. Lost 5 of the last 6, and it's about to be 6 of the last 7. Yes, 100%. Starting pitchers are diabolical for the Noles. I agree, Big H. Starting pitching's been, especially in Winston-Salem, like that is not an easy place to pitch. It's turf, so ground balls are going to skip through the infield. Ball flies in the air. So Florida State, you got to be ecstatic with how they've pitched. Offense was a little bit light today, but the pitching was so good, didn't matter. And yesterday, they crushed it. Ballard and Joyer, I'm obsessed with Buck. Buck, I have a ticket for tomorrow's WBC game for you if you fly in. Got to say, if you're not watching tomorrow's game of Texas versus Ole Miss, you're missing out 100%. Have to get your take on early season James Ramsey versus Josh Elander out of the gate. I will say James Ramsey's got a better team. James Ramsey's got a better team, but I think James Ramsey, like 20 games in, about as good as you can do. So I think obviously James Ramsey's winning that right now. We got to wait and see how the season plays out. But certainly Tennessee has looked like it's got some issues. They did win yesterday, game 1 against Georgia. They lost today. So, we'll see how this first series goes for them. But I think for sure on the offensive side, Georgia Tech is way more talented than Tennessee. I think Tennessee does have better pitching. And I think one thing this game today against Clemson, I thought, my strategy would have been, you got a super fresh bullpen. Like none of the bullpen's really been used if you're Georgia Tech. And you got Jackson Blakely making his first start on the weekend in ACC play. And, through 4 innings, pretty good. 2 runs given up. But you could see there was some hard contact and, command was kind of like on and off. So I thought through 4 innings, he's probably going to go to, I thought James Ramsey was probably going to go to the bullpen after the 4th. And then when he came out for the bottom of the 5th, I thought, okay, his pitch count's still like fairly low, at least for Jackson Blakely. And, maybe what he's going to do is he's going to see if he can finish the 5th, but if there's any sign of trouble, he'll come out. And I do think Blakely was probably in there a little too long. And just in my opinion, but then it just, again, like bullpen came in and just nobody wanted to be in there. It looked like it just, everybody was, walking guys, hitting guys. So it's one thing that Blakely kind of gave up the lead, but it didn't have to turn into an 8-run inning. And you brought in guys that just no one threw strikes, just nobody. So it was really, that was the worst inning of the year for Georgia Tech's pitching staff. That's just how it was, I don't think that's going to be how it is every time. It was just one of those like, man, tough inning. And it's weird because you would expect like everyone in the bullpen's like, we're coming in and we're getting this sweep, but it just looked like everyone was kind of scared. That's what it looked like. My other option for this weekend was WBC with my Dominican buddies, but couldn't pull it off. Knowles could lose the sweep tomorrow, and I bet LSU will still be ranked above them, even with the loss today. Probably. But Florida State's got to jump. Florida State's got to jump. It's a ranked win. Right, LSU's going to, if Vandy wins this, and in all likelihood, they probably will, Vandy's not ranked. Vandy is 12-7. So LSU should drop massively if they lose this series. Florida State just beat Wake Forest, who's a very good team. Did you see today's Texas game? Our pitcher threw 7 innings, only gave up 2. High rule. Are you messing with me right now? Gave up 2 what? 2 what? My dad would, if I ever said that, my dad, oh my gosh. High rule. Tell me if you're being serious, and I'll tell you what you said wrong. You probably know. I know we talked about this on text, and I do agree. However, everyone that Georgia Tech brought in was bad. Still don't love the decisions, but not a single good relief day out there. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying is everyone's going to have a different opinion. I thought the strategy would be with Blakely. I think the farthest he had gone all year was 4 against Georgia State, where he struck out 9. And so when he gets through 4 at Clemson with the lead, only giving up 2 runs, I figured he's either out or first sign of trouble, base runner reaches, specifically with like no outs, 1 out, you're probably going to bring in a guy. And I do think when you come in and the game's tied and you got runners on, or maybe I forget if the first guy, again, because I was gone, but when the first bullpen arm came in, was it tied or was it 5-4 with like a bunch of runners on? Either way, there is a difference coming into a game with a 3-run lead and a runner on, and a 1-runner tie game with a bunch of runners on base. There's way more pressure in that situation. So I think, it was a tough situation, but if you're going to play with the big boys, and again, Georgia Tech won the series. You're nitpicking when you talk about, man, we should have swept. It's like Clemson's a very good team. Their pitching is legit. Again, better than Virginia Tech's, and Virginia Tech's was legit. So I think you're really happy with how the offense performed against Clemson's pitchers, because coming into the weekend, Clemson was, I think, statistically the number 2 pitching staff in the country, behind USC, who's been like unhittable. USC lost to their first loss was today. They lost like 1-0 or 2-1. Like, they're still not giving up runs. But it still was a great weekend for Georgia Tech. On the road at Clemson, top 10 opponent, series win. You're 4-2 in ACC play so far. So, like, you're ecstatic. And James Ramsey's doing a heck of a job, man. You know, I mean, there is like an energy in that dugout and that clubhouse, from what I've heard, that's just a little bit different this year. And LSU's finally out of this bottom of the 5th. Long bottom of the 5th for LSU, too. Bottom of the 5th's been dangerous for teams today. I'm football brained, brother. Yeah, it's runs. High rule. Runs. Thank you for correcting. How much does let me see if Donde Está Dusty? I don't know, man. I got to get on him. How much does the fact that we held them to 0 in both games affect the rankings, or do they not look that deep into it when ranking? No, they'll look into that. Again, it's like, it's obviously more important that you just win the series. But if it's like a tight series, you know, that may impact rankings as far as how far Florida State jumps and how far Wake Forest drops. I don't think Wake Forest will, unless Wake Forest gets swept, they're not going to drop a ton. I do think Florida State will make a big jump, because their helium's rising. They got some helium underneath them right now, or in them right now. I'm falling behind chat now. Spivey was first guy and probably worst day of all. It was 5-4, but runners on, and he's young. Yeah. And Spivey has done that. I mean, he's got good stuff. He's got pretty good stuff, but he has kind of been, he will walk some guys. Wow, just getting caught up on scores. Been at 1100 PG event. UVA, Mississippi State, Texas, all good. What has happened to LSU? I don't know. I'm like the UN cultural chameleon. Nice. We have to give credit where due to. Georgia Tech starting pitching was incredibly competitive and produced. 100%. It was kind of, basically game 1, game 2, starting pitching and bullpen were great. Game 3, Jackson Blakely did his job, gave up 2 runs. And, you're not going to expect much more from him. I mean, the Sunday job is still kind of up for grabs, but he looked good. Pitched around some trouble. But the bullpen just had a really bad day. That's it. But overall, right, it's a huge win. Lucky Banjo, you're a globalist? Southern Miss put the dagger in them. Did Vandy start the freshman? Yes. Wyatt Nadeau. If you consider NJ and Connecticut Global, then yes. New Jersey and Connecticut Global. Who was the best player you saw at the event, JD? 11 under event, Kane. Stop. I'll be right back, guys. I got to go get my monitor for the 4-year-old. Maintain this. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let me see. An LSU 2 quick outs for Vandy. All right. You know me, recruiting 25-8, 366. Okay, guys, I'm in charge for now. Wiley, shut up, dude. Canes, make or break tomorrow. Yeah, big make or break. Not make or break, but like Miami's going to feel a lot better about themselves if they can win that series against Duke. They looked really great today. The best game on right now is Grambling versus Alabama State. Stop, dude. Stop. What happens when we cross the Arkansas pig call with the UVA Wahoo Wah? I don't know. I don't want to know. And combine that with the Vandy Whistler, and you're literally in hell. Laugh out loud, Ballard fight. What's up, Kappa? What's up, man? Yeah, he is funny. He makes sometimes sometimes he takes a little bit too far, and I have to time him out. Is it arguable after this weekend LSU is the worst team in the SEC? Vandy came into it objectively the worst team. I can see arguments for South Carolina, but they have actually been playing decent. I don't know, dude. Has South Carolina been playing decent? Let's update that. Did South Carolina? Let's see what the score of that game ended up being. Wait, where is Florida here? Florida wins 3-0. South Carolina hasn't scored a run in 2 games against Florida. South Carolina is 12-8. I think South Carolina is probably the worst team in the SEC. Listen, LSU's not playing great right now, but I think they sweep South Carolina. And this freshman for Vandy is just mowing LSU down, one hitter through 6 innings. I'm not playing. It's 5-4, top 8, runners on the corners, no outs. South Carolina is the worst now. LSU is the second worst. Florida hitting has been dry lately, even in our games, so low-score games don't surprise me. Yeah, no, Florida's offense, even against Miami, if you think back to those Miami games, it was low score. They had no runs, basically, until like the 7th or 8th inning, and they got to Miami's bullpen. So Florida's offense is a little bit concerning. Their pitching is very good. Their pitching is elite. So that's okay, but it'll be interesting to see how Florida fares against some of the better teams in the SEC if their offense can't pick it up, because they're not scoring a ton of runs. I mean, they're probably bottom of the SEC or one of the lower teams in the SEC as far as runs scored per game. Alabama State is up 1. Grambling's threatening. Look hand up. I'll wear that. But one of us has to push boundaries so we know boundaries. I was a boundary pusher. My oldest is a massive boundary pusher. Like, he's going to be I'm going to be making trips to the principal's office for him. And that's, my parents did that for me. He's going to be that guy. That's just how he is. You tell him, hey, you can't do that. He'll be like, well, can I do this? And like, he'll just push the line. And I just look at him like, you're my son. And he also loves explaining everything. And my wife will just look at me and she's like, he's you. He's you. Like, that's you. Which is really amazing when you have kids and like you start seeing that one of them is very much like you. And my youngest is, in some ways he's like me, but he's probably more like Julie. And so it's so cool to see that. And now that my wife has told me that, like when I'm talking with my 4-year-old, I'll just be looking at him and it's like I'm listening to myself at 4 years old. It's really cool. Gotta love it, Kane. Bases loaded, 1 out, Grambling looking to answer. Canes is really locked into this Grambling Alabama State game. Hey, I know you guys are dying to know this, but College of Southern Nevada swept Central Arizona this weekend. JUCO. Wow, nice. CSN, baby. Oh, I didn't see they went scoreless again today. I just watched the Florida-South Carolina highlights from yesterday. Yeah, I mean, like Florida-South Carolina has been, I mean, I don't know if I don't remember the last like game between highly thought of teams like SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12 games where it was literally last night, it was 0-0 in the 10th. No team had scored. And Florida won in a walk-off 1-0. LSU out here making me think they won't make the field of 64. I mean, certainly the way they're playing right now, it's going to be tough. The good thing for them is like if they can get on some kind of run, we've seen it. You go 13-17 in the SEC, you make the tournament. Wonder when the last time the national champion didn't make the field of 64 the next year. Yeah, crazy. I don't know. It's a good question. Will there be a third? We'll see. We both want more, so. Oh, my. Oh, right at the wall. Vandy almost hit another home run. LSU, a clown in baseball and college football this year. The thing about LSU is this. They're not playing well right now. And really across the board. Pitching hasn't been great lately. Obviously, Vandy scored, 12 last night? They've scored 8 tonight. Offense looked better last night, but you still don't win. And now they're back to, like, really struggling. Jay Johnson does not look happy in the dugout either. Excuse me. But LSU's got so much talent. If they do figure it out, they're immediately dangerous, right? And that's what we saw with Florida the year. They barely made it in 13-17, and then they make the World Series because they were so talented. They just need to go on a run, and then they're fine. But certainly right now, you're worried about LSU. 3-2 count, bases loaded. Wow, Canes is locked in. I also highly recommend Zevia, grape flavored. Yeah, I like the grape flavor. My favorite ones are the black cherry, cream soda, just the regular cola, the Dr. Zevia. Those are probably my four favorite. But grape is good too. I like grape. I just get we get the big pack at Costco that comes with like 32 of them or something. But you do get some flavors in it. Like the ginger ale is pretty good, but I get tired of that. I like root beer, but I can't drink that too much. Like I don't really love that. I can drink the cream sodas and the black cherry, the cherry cola, the cola all day. I could drink like 10 of those in a day. Alabama is a disappointment as well. I don't think Alabama was thought to be like really good this year. Like I think if you talk to most people about the SEC preseason, they thought Alabama would probably finish around like 8-10 in the SEC. But certainly in the SEC, like even if you're not expected to be like really great, the fan base wants you to be great. But Kentucky's playing well too. So I mean, listen, the SEC is deep, man. The SEC is deep, and the ACC looks really deep this year too. Notre Dame looks good. Love the Dr. Zevia. Are you not doing coach interviews for USA anymore? It's tougher in season, Buck. It's like you try not to push it in season because it's already hard enough to communicate with coaches in season. And so for them to schedule like an hour amount of time, we kind of want to wait until after the season to start those back up. Certainly, Vandy won't jump into the top 15 after beating a super overrated LSU team, right? Right? No, and I don't even think they'll make it in the top 25. And if they sweep, there's always a chance. But I still think they're well outside of the top 25 right now. And it matters, how many teams in the back end of the top 25 end up losing the series. So there's a lot of factors. 3-2 count, 2 outs. Big Age, I looked it up. It was actually Ole Miss 4 years ago. Yeah, I was about to say, I almost said that. I was like, I'm pretty sure it was Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is even a crazier one because they were the last team in the tournament, the very last team in the tournament. They won. Next year, they didn't make it. Vandy steals second. No one covering second. LSU's not looking good, boys. LSU is not looking good. Wild throw. Runners advance. Frustrated on LSU, but so talented. Just can't believe they won't pull out of it. But Texas A&M didn't last year. Yeah. Man, Vandy is just running all over LSU. They just stole. I got the hiccups again. Just stole second without. Wow, what a play by Van. Hey, dude, Tim Corbin's a genius with the base running stuff. He had his runner at third break towards home to distract the pitcher. The guy at first just stole second without a throw home. My God, I got some bad ones tonight. OMG, back-to-back Ks for Alabama State on 3-2 counts to get out of base loaded jam. Wow. Could it be the ACC is better than the SEC this year? It could be. Could be. Or certainly like they're right at the same level. JD, not going to make up a call until the championship. They look bad with a few exceptions, but they have won it the last 6 years. So yeah, sure. LSU lost so much talent from last year pitching and hitting they were discussing on the broadcast. Yeah, but they reloaded, man. You know, it's like it's one thing with a team when a team that doesn't have a whole lot of funding loses a lot of players. When you're LSU, you have all the money in the world to reload. And that's the added pressure of being at LSU as a coach is that there's just there's never an excuse for a reason to have a down year. Given Jay Johnson's personality now, does he shake things up? Chairs being thrown in the locker room, inspirational talk, benching people. I mean, you would expect that. It sounds like a lot of that stuff has already happened. I don't know about the lineup shake. Bro. I don't know about the lineup shakeup, but sounds like they've had some team meetings, players only meetings, which is, again, that's a bad sign this early in the year. Broadcast doing a cope session. That's like me with the hiccups. Dude, these are bad tonight. Excuses after winning a ship. Your recruiting should be at top tier. No excuse for reason for them to be bad. To be this bad. True. Let's see if it works. I took your advice, Canes. Do you need a pinch hitter host? Yeah, pretty soon, maybe. Looks like LSU Reload is short some ammo. It certainly does right now. Kyle holding his breath on air, a first. True. Will he go blue? I could see my face turning red on the stream. It works for me. And I do that too, Canes. I do that too. This is phenomenal streaming. Damn, you can hold your breath for a while. I used to be able to hold my breath for like over 3 minutes. Did a lot of scuba diving when I was in high school because we used to go on vacation with my family. We went skiing and then baseball got really serious. My dad's like, you guys are not going skiing. You guys are maniacs. And I don't want you getting hurt for baseball season. So we stopped doing that. We got scuba diving certified. I've probably gone on over 100 dives. And with that, like I would go free diving a bunch, which you need to train your breath, your breathing, and your lungs to go stay under for a while when you're free diving, especially when you're going down like 60 feet free diving. So I used to be able to hold my breath a long time. Kyle doesn't talk for more than 30 seconds. A new record. True. LOL from Kappa. They're about to walk a damn run, and so much for 13 pitchers of however many they had. Yeah, I mean, and you know what? It's SEAL Team Ren. It makes sense now. It's true. You know what? LSU is just, it's across the board. Your runner steals second. It's ball 4. Catcher still throws down. No one covers. Ball goes into center. Takes third. The very next pitch, runner on third breaks. Tim Corbin, masterclass right there. Great play. Runner at third breaks. So the right-handed pitcher sees that and is just totally focused on it. Runner at first just scoots into second. Now you got runners at second and third, no double play opportunity. And now Vandy's like about to have another big inning. But so far, so good, Canes. Looks like that worked. But it's these carbonated drinks, man. I don't know if you guys saw the Oklahoma A&M fiasco last night. So I watched the video and I tweeted about it. So I think the player for Oklahoma that got tossed, I think the reason he got tossed is he slammed the bat. First of all, he ran with the bat like halfway down the line, which I'm pretty sure the league has told teams, like, if you're going to pimp it at home plate. Don't throw the bat way up in the air. Don't let it bounce around. So he runs with it halfway down the line, slams it. And when he slammed it, it looked like it bounced toward A&M's dugout. Now, obviously, he didn't do that on purpose, but it bounced towards the dugout, got close to the dugout. Where it gets bad is that, I think, because I saw some A&M fans like, he was just throwing the bat back to the other team. And I'm like, dude, I've never seen a head coach get the bat and sling it towards like the backstop at home plate. And obviously that was like a frustration thing for Michael Early and A&M, because the bat boy was like over there going to pick it up. He could just like handed it to the bat boy. The bat boy's right in front of him and he just slings it. So that's where it all started. And just, you know, with how rah-rah everything is now in college baseball and players talking so much trash and cussing out each other, you know, that happened like once every 15 games when I played, maybe once every 10. It happens every game now. And so I kind of think the players shouldn't have been tossed, even though I don't like that whole thing. You guys know that. But I can't believe the coaches weren't tossed. I honestly think that this team just can't handle losing. Walk-off win last night crushed their spirits, and now they're playing even worse. 100%, Big H. Like, because I think a lot of people think, oh, LSU's offense is back. And the problem is, as an offense, when you score that many runs and you lose, it's deflating. Because you're like, wow, we really can't win games. And so you felt great, and then you still lose, and now as an offense, you're like, man, how many runs do we got to score? And then you come out, so there's added pressure on the offense. Now you come out flat against Vandy. They thought they were untouchable and now can't get back up after a hit to the mouth. LSU thought they were untouchable. Didn't they lose the series last weekend? I think it's more the sense that, like, you lose one series, that happens, you know. But then you've had trouble in the midweek, and then you come out and you get walked off in the ninth, where you think, all right, where you finally think, all right, we figured it out. We scored a bunch of runs. We're about to win. You get walked off with 2 outs, right? You're 1 out away from a win, and then one swing of the bat, game's over. Is that TCU center fielder okay? Any official info on the injury? I haven't seen. And it was also weird because he fell down in the outfield, and then he got up and he sprinted after it to center field, threw it in. He looked totally fine. And then when the camera pans back to him, he's like grabbing his leg on the ground and can barely walk. So I don't know if he did it after the play, because in my mind, he could barely walk off, put any weight on the foot or whether it was his leg or his foot. It looked like it might have been his foot. He could barely put any weight on it. But in the play, he like sprinted back to get the ball and was fine. So maybe that was just adrenaline. But I don't know exactly. I haven't seen anything about it. Look at the streak of losses they had. Ever since McNeese, it's been a train wreck. Yeah. The amount of hardo MFing is so tired. Love good chirps, but come on. Yeah. It's especially bad. You know, it's like the chirping when you get out of a jam and it's a tight game and that was a big moment. And, you know, still like, well, you can celebrate. You don't have to chirp the other team. But the amount of guys that will like stare hitters down in the first inning of a game after they get out of the first inning with giving up no runs. And I'm just like, dude, you got like 4 or 5 innings at minimum left before you can be doing that. Like, your job is to get through 6 as a starter. So a lot of it's just like, man, do you even understand the situation of the game? Like, you haven't done anything yet. And I always say this, I've told you guys this. If anybody I played with did that, the seniors and the juniors on our team would have like grabbed us by our throat and slammed us against the wall in the dugout. Because they've been like, what are you doing? We haven't won the game. We haven't done anything. And now this team hates us even more and wants to beat us even more. Meanwhile, Texas came right back and crushed Ole Miss. Yeah, it was a good response day for Texas. Vandy going for the mercy? Yeah, they are. Vandy's going for the mercy here. And LSU's catcher's down now. He was holding his Achilles. Yeah, so Kappa, that's what I'm trying to figure out is when did he do it? Because he had that weird fall in the outfield. Like, kind of looked like his spikes maybe got caught in the turf. But then he got up and sprinted back all the way to the wall, got the ball, threw it in, and looked totally, didn't like immediately go down, looked totally fine. Camera pans away to the rest of the play. And then when the camera gets back on him, he's like on the ground in pain. So I don't know exactly when he did it. Vandy commentators are giggling and throwing jokes around live. They know it's run rule time. Yeah, the games, they're not even focused on the game. The 20th guy on the bench is always looking for a fight, too. It's honestly brutal. Yeah, that's the thing that gets me the most is like the bench guys that never play, like trash talking a pitcher or trash talking an opposing hitter. And I'm like, bro, you don't even play. And Vandy does not get the run they need for the run rule, so we will go to the bottom of the 7th after this top of the 7th. What just happened to the LSU catcher? It sounds like he got a cramp. Yeah, it sounds like he cramped, which again, like another bad sign. It's a night game up in Tennessee. Like, it's not super hot yet. So we're just not going to hydrate. We don't drink like half a gallon of water over the course of the day before the game. We don't take some salt or some sodium tablets or whatever. You know, it's just like the hits keep coming for LSU. The hits keep coming. Hyrule would be the most right now they've shown in the past 6 games. Most fight in the last 6 games. Yeah. So true. It's trickled down to the travel ball. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff I heard at the Houston 1000 a few weeks ago. No, I agree, Buck. I see some of the stuff in travel ball, and I'm like, man, you guys. The problem is these kids all think they're all that. And most of those guys, like I tell parents this when I work with them, I say, like, literally most of the guys that go to play college baseball at whatever level never have any meaningful impact on a team. They never do. You know, they're a bench guy that maybe gets some at bats sometimes, or you're kind of a relief guy that comes in when the game's out of hand or you're way ahead. And so, and listen, those guys dominate high school baseball. Those guys are dominant players in high school baseball. Did you guys see the Oregon bullpen catcher? I think it was yesterday. Like one of the guys in Oregon hit a home run. He just wore it off the chest, like just sat there like this and just let it hit him in the chest. I wouldn't do that. You know, guys have been known to get messed up from that sometimes. Late to the party. What's up, Nancy? Welcome to the party, Nancy. And this is another guy. So Derek Curiel, he had a really solid freshman year. Albeit in this environment where everybody hits 15 home runs, it was a good freshman year, but it wasn't like super overly impressive. And I see him getting I see some predictions of him going top 15 in the draft. And I'm like, he's hitting 320 with 1 home run, 20 games into the year, you know? The clip of the Oregon bullpen catcher letting the baseball at his chest was hilarious. It was hilarious. Pie gal. College baseball is back, gentlemen. CBB or college basketball? Which one are you talking about? And Vandy's freshman is into the 7th inning at 86 pitches. It's bad for the kids to do it, but listen to these parents. That's the real problem. 100% JD. Some of the parents do. And that's something I talk to guys about. I say, listen, when a coach comes to see you play, they're not just evaluating your son. They are watching you. And they're trying to get an idea like, is this the kind of parent that I want to have to deal with for 3 or 4 years if their son isn't playing as much as they think? I actually had to have that conversation with one of the top pitchers in the 26th class with his dad, because his son was like in 8th grade and 9th grade and extremely talented, and he's like pacing behind home plate while his son's pitching and like throwing up his hands when he walks a guy. And I'm like, dude, he's in 8th grade. Like, he's going to be fine. If he's losing his command as a junior in high school, like we have maybe something to think about. But like, the last thing you want is him. He's already got the nerves to perform. He doesn't want to look up and see his dad pacing behind home plate. And now he's even more nervous, right? So 100% JD. And some of the parents are just like screaming at umpires, like really bad. You know, it's like, man, this is travel ball. Like, who cares? Who cares? Sure, I missed the discussion, but wow, did our bullpen lose the game today? Yeah, it was just a really bad day for the bullpen. Again, you have to look at it in baseball. You always have to, you have to look at the weekend as a whole. And the weekend as a whole, you're really happy with the starting pitching. You're really happy with the bullpen. Like, outside of 1 inning, the bullpen was really good. And the starting pitchers all did great. Maybe you could have pulled Jackson Blakely early there in the 5th after he hits the first hitter. But still, like, for his first start on the weekend and in the ACC against a top 10 team, he did fine. They had the lead, So you just can't look too far into it. It would have been great to have a sweep, but if you go on the road at Clemson, top 10 team, and you really dominate them 2 games, they did what they needed to do. They already have a signature series win under their belt, and they're 2 weekends into the ACC. So that's a huge win. Pygal, are you a Morgan County resident? These commentators are talking about how much they like sequels to movies like Happy Gilmore 2. Zero attention to the game right now. But that's what happens, Big H, when you do these broadcasts, because I do some for Georgia Tech. And when you're doing one where the game's out of hand, like the at-bats, the at-bats aren't important. The best games to do are like those 1, 2, 3-run games where every at-bat's important. Every out's important. When you're doing games like this, it's like, all right, what stories can we tell? Like, because no one really cares about this game right now. It's not a big situation. Pitching hit a few batters this weekend. Yeah, the hit batters. And there were, what I would say is there was a lot of 2-strike, like 1-2, 0-2 hit batters, which are not good. USC is playing awesome baseball. USC's pitching is dumb. I don't know how good their offense is going to be, but USC is going to be really good in the Big Ten. USC is going to do very well in the Big Ten, and they may end up being a host. Just because in the Big Ten there's not a ton of competition. 19-1 is no joke for sure. Now need to do well against Auburn Tuesday. Yeah. Yep, big midweek against Auburn. But I think you feel really good about your midweek starter in Jalakos. He's been great. Throws strikes, doesn't walk guys, mixes stuff up. He's been very good on the midweek. LSU's got something going here. Got a little double, one out double. Grandson took one to the wall today for a second time on 3rd at bat. Parent is yelling, knock him down this time. Yeah, that's a little bit much. It's a little bit much. No, Walton County. Thank you, Pygal. You don't need to. Don't tell these guys anything else about where you live. Don't tell them anything else. Let me check some of these scores right now. Oh, man. Boston College did beat NC State. So, Canes, that Boston College series loss, it looked like a bad one, but Boston College has a chance to beat NC State as well, and NC State's number 10 in the country. So, we're talking about the depth of these two conferences in the ACC and the SEC. Like Boston College looking like they're better this year. They beat NC State 12-5 today. Arkansas did win the series against Mississippi State 2-1. Kentucky has won the series against Alabama with a final game tomorrow. Although both games with Alabama and Kentucky were very close. So it's not like Alabama did make 3 errors, lost by 1 run. That was probably the difference in the game. UTSA loses both games against UT Arlington so far. So UTSA probably going to drop out of the top 25. Auburn has barely beat Missouri both games. So Auburn's offense is looking a little bit light, which bodes well for Georgia Tech. Coastal Carolina beat App State, so they have won the series, won the first 2 games. Texas answered against Ole Miss today, won 11-2. Northwestern finally broke up the undefeated Trojans, but they only won 2-1. Like USC's pitching staff, and it was like a blizzard. I don't know if you guys saw the games. Snow was coming down hard. I'm sure that had some impact on the game. I've played in snow. It's not as easy to hit when you got white flakes falling down in front of you while the ball's coming in. And LSU has scored 2 runs now, so it's now 10-3. Wake Forest got beat 2-0 by Florida State, so Florida State has won their first ACC series. They're 2-0 in the ACC play, and they have beat Wake Forest, who's number 12, so Florida State's going to make a big jump. Georgia evened the series against Tennessee. They won 4-2. A&M evened the series with Oklahoma, so that series is tied 1-1. UCLA has won the series against Michigan, albeit they only won 2-0 and they only had 4 hits. So UCLA, playing Michigan that close is a bit concerning. Michigan is 9-8 on the year. They were 9-6 coming into the series. North Carolina UNC has won the series against Cal in Berkeley, looking for the sweep tomorrow. Florida won against South Carolina 3-0. They are looking for the sweep tomorrow. Southern Miss does beat Arkansas State, so they have evened the series. And then Auburn won. Did Auburn play a doubleheader today? They won another game 9-2. So and then TCU is beating Arizona State 1-0 in the third. Oregon State's beating San Diego 8-1 in the top of the fifth. Like, man, Oregon State, man, their schedule is just hilarious. But they play a bunch of games on the road, so their RPI is going to be higher. It's like, I remember, do you guys remember last year when Oregon State was like one of the highest RPIs and we went through their schedule and we're like, how? Because they played all their games on the road. Okay. That's what just don't play in a top tier conference, go independent and play a bunch of like okay teams on the road and have a good record, and you'll be a host. Miami did win to even the series against Duke 9-0, dominant win, only gave up 5 hits. And Vandy does get out of it. It's 10-3. The freshman Nadeau, I don't know how you say his last name. They're saying Neto. 103 pitches. So you have some programs where the freshmen are like never throwing more than 80 pitches. Neto goes 103 into the 7th against LSU. Very good showing for the freshman. So Miami did most of their damage in the first 3 innings. They scored 8 runs in the first 3 innings, then 1 in the 9th. Wow, everybody's chatting while I'm reading scores. Now I can't read anything. State of Florida has been pitching this weekend. Florida and FSU both allowed 0 runs thus far. And Miami pitched great today. They actually pitched pretty well yesterday, too. They just had no offense. NC State sucks. They lost to Lafayette. We beat Lafayette by 30. Only ACC I think would be an absolute cakewalk would be the Notre Dame conference. Would be Notre Dame. Conference is deep. Notre Dame's good this year, dude. Notre Dame's like 3-1 or 3-2 in ACC play right now. Notre Dame's better than I think people think. Hope Auburn's offense is very light Tuesday. Come on, Tennessee, get the series tomorrow. You think this year's UCLA, USC's, Arizona State's, UCSB's can do anything down the stretch? I think USC's got the pitching, and I think UCLA can. UCLA's got really good offense, really good pitching. The question mark for USC is the offense going to be enough, like in the postseason? Because they're not scoring a ton of runs, but their pitching's been elite. The question is their pitching going to be elite against like ACC and SEC teams? So we'll see. But certainly, yeah, I think all those teams could do something down the stretch. UCSB is one of the best pitchers in the country. How will losing the series higher Mississippi State losses on the road? I think there was an autocorrect in there, JD. I don't really know what you're asking. Or if how will the series loss affect them, I'm guessing is what you're saying. I don't think they're going to fall very far. I mean, they lost to Arkansas, who's number 5. Like maybe they fall to number 5 or number 6. They're not going to fall very far. Can't believe Dusty has been so absent. I know, true. It's crazy. LSU out. Mott. That's enough, Mott. Rob Evans went 106 pitches today. Yeah, he looked great too. UT Arlington pitcher that went for 130 pitches is BA. No wonder they won the series. Yeah. Canes, you feeling better with the big W today? Notre Dame is good. Ballard enjoyer. And Vandy with a solo shot. LSU just can't catch a break, man. They get a couple runs back and then solo shot. Tommy Gooden. Mott, clean it up. Yeah, clean it up, Mott. Mott is not a member of Al-Qaeda. SEAL Team Ren, is that the same thing as SEAL Team Ren? You know what? I am patiently waiting for this LSU final tweet when they tweet out the final score to read the comments. It is going to be bad. Because honestly, looking at the SEC right now, coming into the series, if you were an LSU fan, you're thinking, all right, well, we're facing Vandy first. Like, we should be able to get things going. And if they end up losing here, it's going to be panic mode in Baton Rouge. Ren de Aragua. Yeah, that's right. I played with a guy. Well, actually, one of my better friends in pro ball was a guy from Mexico. His name was Daniel Castro. He played in the big leagues for a few years. Really good defender, pretty good hitter. And he was telling me, I always would ask him about the cartels because at that time, that it's been a big thing there for quite a while. And I remember him always telling me about, he's like, you know what, the Sinaloa cartel, he's like, you mess with them, they're going to kill you. But this new cartel, like the new generation, I forget what it's called. And it had a different name, like, 10 years ago, which was weird to think about. But he told me, he's like, you mess with them, they're killing you, your family, and everyone in your neighborhood. So that's like the main cartel that's operating in Mexico right now. Maybe Lane can coach baseball too at LSU. I don't know about that. Lane, to be honest, LSU's just been kind of for football coaches, it's been kind of a tough place, for the last few coaches. Even if you do have success, it's again at LSU in baseball and football, the only success is national championships. And look, Jay Johnson has won 2 at LSU in his short time there. And there's still going to be people in the comments like saying he needs to get fired. At COC, I strongly disagree, man. They're looking hot. Did COC write something? I didn't see him anything from him in the chat. Kyle, how much do scouts factor in competitiveness, gamers, and game execution versus talent numbers? Certainly the old school scouts would consider that. Like that's called makeup. Like when evaluating a player's makeup, it's like, how tough are they? How good are they in big moments? Do they kind of look like they get better in big moments, or do they kind of shrink to the pressure in big moments? So that used to be something that's heavily scouted. I still think there are a bunch of scouts that do scout that, but there's also a ton of scouts, and you'll notice them. They look like they're about 22 and look like they have never played a game in their life. Do they even know how to scout makeup? Probably not. So is it still evaluated? Yes. Is it less of a factor now than it used to be? 100%. Love that idea, Nancy. I was in Sinaloa District a month ago. Nancy, what are you doing? To be fair, last few LSU coaches have all been freaks or on the autism spectrum. Pro scouts. Yeah, I know what you were saying, Kappa. LSU fans are tough on their coaches. Yeah, I mean, it's... And you understand why, because their programs are so heavily funded that, when you have that much support financially to, especially in this era with NIL and everything like that, you expect to be one of the best teams in the country every year. So, I mean, we saw the numbers. I don't know if you guys saw the numbers, but it was released like this, the budget for some of these baseball teams last year in 2025, Tennessee's was over 10 million. Their budget for NIL was over 10 million in 2025. So, and there was a lot of teams close to them too. But Tennessee was number 1. Kyle, DJT sent Nancy there to knock heads. My favorite Brian Kelly quote is, "I'm in favor of execution after his team almost lost FSU." Yeah, I remember that. And Brian Kelly, like, I just don't get him. He seems like I can't imagine there's any player that plays for that guy that likes him. He just doesn't seem like a likable guy. It kind of seems like a mean dude, which, like, every coach needs that in him. There are times when you need to be in your player's face. I'm not against that. But when that's all the time, does anybody like look back 10 years from now? I'm like, yeah, I really enjoyed playing for that guy. Probably not. DH got in my face a decent amount, but like it was when I needed that to be done to me. Like that was warranted. And I look back and really, really enjoyed playing for DH. Like I love all, and everyone will pretty much say that. 36% of Louisiana's GDP goes toward LSU coaches. Probably something like that. Noles have just simply overperformed against overrated competition. Wow. COC addict. Keynes' dad is in the chat. That kind of money should buy you the best team. Yeah, it should. That's why, there's very high standards when they spend that much money. Bucky, you have to remember, it doesn't matter what LSU's GDP is. They can steal the money from children's hospitals. Brian Kelly is a turd. Yeah, I mean, that's just how he comes off. It's like I've never talked to anyone that played for him, but just if you watch like a few LSU games a year in football, when Brian Kelly was the head coach, and really at any program Brian Kelly was at, you got that opinion right away. That's not true. Whale is an absolute powerhouse and will be good this season. Whale? Is it Whale or Wale? Brian Kelly is a turd. Bucky, you have to remember it doesn't. Yeah, I already read that. Brian Kelly, not a dad you'd love your kid spending the night with his kids. COC Addict is on fire. Wow. Oh, man. I would typically be going to church in the morning, and we always go to the early service because both our boys are up at like 7:30. But with Julie being sick, we'll probably just stay at home tomorrow. So might be able to, hopefully, every once in a while you have a time where like both kids like want to sleep in. So maybe I'll be able to sleep in tomorrow, catch up on some sleep. The message boards are done with your guy, Kyle. Sheehan. See, COC is an idiot, respectfully. Can we stream a Big H for a COC boxing match? We need to the platform needs to get a little bigger for that, and maybe we could have a nice purse for that matchup. Which got Keynes? Be more specific. Sheehan? Is Sheehan my... Oh. Okay. Why are they done with him? Just not performing well? I thought you were talking about a coach for a second. That's why I was like trying to figure out what are you talking about? Yeah, Big H is COC. That's like his other account, which I appreciate. He's got multiple accounts in the stream boosting the algorithm. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the stream too. I predicted Gabo Milano to start by the end of the year, but it could happen soon. He is such a beast, Milano. Dade County Player of the Year, and he's our backup third baseman, but I predicted him to be our second baseman. LSU, first time since 2007 with 5 non-conference losses. Entering SEC play. Kyle, what music have you been on the last few weeks? To be honest, dude, I don't really listen to music much anymore. I do like one of my favorite. I kind of like listening to synthwave. You know what synthwave is? Like while I'm working and stuff. I don't know if you know what synthwave is, which is totally fine if you don't. But there is a channel on YouTube that plays it. I think it's that Lo-Fi Girl channel that has a synthwave one. And I listen to that. I really like that. So that's, I kind of, let me see on my Spotify. There's a couple things I really like. I've been into like the more like Do you even call it EDM anymore? I don't know. I'm a boomer now. I don't know what the kids are calling it now. I do like Narvent, the artist Narvent. I like a lot of his stuff. If it's a dude, I don't know if it's a dude or not. Maybe it's a girl. Big H is lying, man. I don't know that guy. I'll fight him any day. Canes makes more predictions than anyone alive. Every stream he reveals 4 new ones. Incredible. Hey, Canes' brain is, I wouldn't want to know what's going inside Canes' head. I'll say it like that. He can't hit, and we have the Dade County Player of the Year from the high school of the coach who sits behind me at the games. We can put Ogden at shortstop and Gabo at second base. Well, we'll see. But Vandy is in complete control of this game. Complete control. I just saw something. The A&M does something in the dugout that I don't know what that is. Canes, do Miami and Tech play each other this year? They do not, Nancy. They do not play each other. Canes, what do you do for work? I want to have a live stream of your day to day like the Truman Show. Well, he makes trips down to Medellin, Colombia, if you want to know what he does. Just so you know. He's got family down there. He's a recruiter for the Hurricanes. He kind of is. He's one of those third-party guys that does the dirty NIL deals for Miami so that the coaching staff can't get blamed. I'm just kidding. I'm totally made that up. Don't quote me on that. That's a complete joke. Kyle, I know you were doing that gesture with Hetty in your day. It's not new. Did you? So you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's that's weird. That is weird. I'd watch the Canes recruiting channel live. Yeah, I actually bet it would be like absolute fire. Can you imagine how entertaining that'd be? Like Canes just spouting off all his crazy ideas like nonstop while he's stocking inventory. And remember, Canes goes down to Colombia for business. He's got family down there. And he's always stocking inventory late at night. So, like, a couple of those things together, it's like, okay, 3, 4, 5 of those things together, we're starting to narrow down what's going on. Canes recruiting channel would be like, today in the 8 Under Perfect Game National Championship, this guy's already committed, shadow committed to Miami. It will be a live show with interviews with advisors and our recruits. Seriously, Canes could be like a Miami media personality, 100%. Canes, that's awesome. You're in the import-export business. How have tariffs affected you guys? That's a good question. I don't know if this stuff's coming through the I don't know if the Port Authority is scanning his inventory, if you know what I mean, WB. I think they kind of avoid that. So our fans can get educated about recruiting. It's a good idea. And a lot of people in the Miami fan base know you, Kane. So you'd probably have a lot of listeners very quickly. The hardest thing about YouTube, YouTube, and I actually do have a plan for future content coming out. I'm gonna talk about that soon, but I actually have a really good idea, and it's gonna be, I think, really cool. But the hardest thing on YouTube is, dude, getting those first like 100 subscribers is so tough. YouTube is like, people think like, oh, I'm just gonna go on YouTube and be great, and like 99.99% of people just like never. You got to grind, man. I went like 2 years straight with basically putting video out every day or like 5 days a week, and I got to, in 2 years I got to like 2,000 subscribers, and I'm over. Let me see. What am I at now? Like 4,000? I'm right at 4,000. So it's tough, man. Kyle would be one of my guests once a month for a few minutes to talk recruiting, 100%. Maybe Canes is in the Caribbean speedboat business. Duke got that belt to A today? That they did. Buck knows the real moneymaker. The recruiting service, not PG, not prep baseball, like a 24/7 on 3. Yeah. Or 247 on 3. Tell me about it. Canes has sent 80,000 messages on his chat and will grant Kyle a few minutes. Seriously, Canes, I mean, if you, that's a good point, Kappa. If you, I would love to see the data on how many chats Canes has done. Kyle's time is valuable. I mean, I can make, I can make an hour of time. Did you promote your content across social media platforms? Yes. Instagram, X, everything. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. And, baseball, especially college baseball recruiting and college baseball in general, is a more niche. Like, it seems like, oh, there's a lot of people that are interested in that, but there's a lot of accounts out there. And just like the algorithm showing your content to people, where you start getting followers is when your content actually shows up in people's like home. When you get on YouTube and you see a video pop up, getting your video to be one of those instead of something that people actually have to search for is the biggest thing. And that takes a while. But how YouTube works is you have one video get really big, like get a lot of views. You'll get a ton of followers or subscribers from that one video, but then you'll have another video and you're like, oh, I feel really good about this one. It's got the same energy, kind of same vibe as the one that went, not viral, but had a lot of views, and it'll get like 200. And you're like, what? Since there's only going to be 10 total rounds and possibly the chance of no high school players draft, there needs to be a baseball site like 247 on 3 for baseball recruiting info. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the 10 rounds in the draft is definitely going to happen. The high school thing is where I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. Kyle, get ready to play these reporters for more leverage money when it comes to NIL. True. Seriously, leak it to the press like all the agents do in the major leagues. But see, in my mind, they're talking about Derek Curriel right now. And I think Derek Curriel is riding more hype from how hyped he was in high school than what he's done in college. Because think about Drew Burress, for example. Drew Burress has had as great of maybe the best college career in Georgia Tech history, right? He has a great year this year. He's maybe the best player numbers wise of any Georgia Tech player in history, as far as home runs, batting average, everything. And there's question marks if he's going to go top 15 picks right now. And so if I'm drafting Burris or Curiel, I'm going Burris every time right now. He's shown way more power. He's been a better hitter. And he's as good a defender in center field as Curiel. I think Curiel's a pretty good defender. I don't think he's like a plus defender or anything like that. And Vandy goes to the bottom of the eighth. No runs for LSU. What do you think Pete Nakos' job is? He only gets info from agents, 100%. Who do you think will pitch Tuesday? It's going to be Angelicos. It's going to be Dimitri Angelicos. He's been great. He's been outstanding in the midweek. And advisors, yeah. Curiel had a good freshman year for sure, plus playing for the Natty and playing center field LSU. Yeah, that's the thing. And if you look at his year last year, let me just pull this up. So if we look at him in LSU last year, he hit 345. Okay, really good. A lot of doubles, 20 doubles, 7 home runs, a ton of walks. So really high on base percentage. But, you know, again, in college baseball now, if he did that in my era, he's a top 5 pick. He's a top 5 pick with those numbers. In this era of college baseball, like hitting 7 home runs, albeit as a freshman, is still like, you know, Drew Burris hit 25 as a freshman with 20 plus doubles and a ton of walks. And Curiel walked a lot, but he struck out 56 times. So he walks a lot, but he still strikes out a decent amount too. Doesn't really do anything on the base paths. He had 3 stolen bases last year. He has 3 this year. But this year he's hit 6 doubles in 20 games and 1 home run. So in my mind, he's like maybe at best a back of the first round type pick. I don't think you pick him in the first round right now based on what he's doing. Now he could go on a tear and all of a sudden, you know, he looks totally different. But, you know, are you going to pick Curiel over Burris because he's a year younger? I don't think so. They're pushing guys to the big leagues in less than a year now. You know, it's not like it was when I was playing where, you know, when I was playing, even if you were a very, very, very good college hitter, you were going to spend like 2 years in the minor leagues, have to grind your way up. He had a great year for a freshman in the SEC. True, he did. But when you talk about potential and tools, like the power tool is really not there yet. Defensively, I think he's, you know, maybe an above average defender in center field. And remember, these are above average for a big leaguer. You know, he's a great defender in college, but great defenders in college are kind of average or slightly above average defenders in the big leagues. And he, you know, 7 home runs is below average power in college baseball. 7 home runs is like not anything now. When I was playing, 7 home runs was pretty good. If you had 10 plus, you had pretty legit. You probably had big league or slightly above big league average power. Especially for the arms you face and coming straight out of high school. No doubt. But I'm just talking about, you know, in year 2, with the year he had as a freshman, year 2, if he hits for the same average and the power numbers spike, 100%. But the power numbers are down. The average is down. So, and the doubles are looking like they're going to be right on same pace. Maybe he's off the Herald juice. I don't think he ever was, because he's kind of a skinnier guy. I don't think he's on any juice. And LSU just showing no life in this game, just can't get anything going. You know, they score a couple runs back there in the 6th or 7th and can't stop Vandy from scoring. Vandy adds a solo shot. Would you take that off and put on your local Fox channel? Yeah, it's getting kind of boring, you know. But it's more interesting to watch. I want to watch how LSU looks as a team because they're not playing well, and I want to be able to kind of talk through why they're struggling. And it just looks like they're just not locked in any aspect of the game. Offensively, defensively. Again, remember that big inning for Vandy, it could have gone totally different. Ground ball right back to York at first, and he just zoos a throw. So they get no outs, runner scores. It should have been at least one run. It should have been at least one out, maybe a double play back to first base. And it turns into no outs. And then Vandy ends up putting up a massive number. But I think Vandy actually is going to feel really good after the series because they do have some arms. One of my guys, Matthew Shorey, as well. I don't know if he's back yet. I actually need, let me check that. But they have some arms that they're missing right now. Yeah, he still hasn't pitched. He still hasn't come back. Does LSU drop out of the top 25? If they get swept, they might. What's up, 954? If LSU gets swept, they might. If they don't, I think they're still in, but they're near the back of the top 25, like maybe in the 20 to 25 range. Because, like, listen, performance is part of the rankings 100% and should be the most highest weighted, most heavily weighted part of the rankings. But part of the rankings is also just overall talent of the team. And LSU is immensely talented. They have arms. We think they have bats, but the bats have not been great. And so like I was talking about earlier, LSU is the type of team, if they do figure it out at any point in the year, they're very tough to beat. But right now, they're just not playing well on any side of the ball. Defensively, not playing well. Base running, not playing well. And Vandy is stealing up 8 in the bottom of the 8th. That tells you what the era of college baseball we're in. Vandy's like, we need more than 8-run lead going into the 9th. Yeah, they're talking about how Vandy's hitting more home runs now, but like, are they talking about how they moved the fence in? Is Vandy getting a new facility? I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it. I know they moved the fences in and right pretty substantially. So that's probably one of the reasons why they're hitting more home runs. Vandy always was not a great place to hit for power, especially for a left-handed hitter. I will say Tim Corbin's practices and like pregame BP and defense work it's like military stuff. Like it is so disciplined and everyone knows where they need to go and everyone knows what they're doing. And it is very, very, very scripted. All right, now we go to the top of the ninth. But I don't know if they're getting a new facility, JD. I'm sure. I mean, Vandy's always getting kind of upgrading things, so maybe they're upgrading something. They did move the fences in and right. It looks like the stands in right are not up right now, so they may be putting some new kind of stadium seating back there. Now, will LSU put up any kind of a fight here in the ninth? Speaking of seating, have you seen new seats available at Georgia Tech behind home plate and first base area? Yeah, I saw them. They're cool. They're cool additions. I think Georgia Tech, with the way the fans are showing up for games now, I think they do need to look into adding some seating somewhere in the outfield. It would be tough though, with how little space there is. I know, like in right field, we always talked about how having stands in right field for like like the fraternities and stuff would be cool. But with there being a road back there where the grounds crew use and stuff, it may make that difficult. It would make it very difficult, actually. So I don't know what the next thing would be for Georgia Tech, unless they went vertical and added like a second level to the state. Certainly, if Georgia Tech has a big year this year, like makes it to the College World Series, you're going to see. That's typically how you get really nice things. You make it to the College World Series, you're going to get big investment in the program. So it would be interesting to see kind of what the next step is for Georgia Tech and like facility upgrades, because you always have to be upgrading. I remember watching this kid in high school, Cerna. That's what I'm talking about when it's like these kids come out of high school, like Jack Ruckert, the kid that just walked, big time prospect out of high school. Cerna, same thing. And, Ruckert not really playing as a freshman. Cerna getting some at bats, but not doing great. Like, I think kids really have to understand how little bit of time, even if you do get an opportunity as a freshman, if you don't perform, like that opportunity goes away very quickly. It's not like it used to be where, you had to rely on some freshmen in your lineup. You don't have to do that anymore. And Ruckert and Cerna, they go to another school. Maybe they get a little bit more opportunity before, they're pulled out of the lineup to go somewhere to go to another player. You go to LSU, you better perform right away. Certainly non-conference. It was Tennessee that got the big renovations, $100 million, and Vandy just upgrading this year. Yeah, Tennessee's renovations are insane. And Vanderbilt has taken the series against LSU. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me tonight. Thank you for joining in. Thanks for the conversations. Probably do another one tomorrow night, so stay tuned to that. We'll do a whole weekend recap and maybe kind of what's going to shake up in the rankings after all the series are over. But appreciate you guys, as always, coming in here.